Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1760 and today's date is January 8th, 2019, and the title of the episode is, Did Trump Just Expose the Deep State Central Bank Economy with One Tweet? Now, before we get started, I want to talk about President Trump. President Trump took a few days out of his busy schedule recently to visit our boys and girls in the Middle East with the First Lady. In Iraq, he spoke of his latest initiative to pull the troops from Syria, saying the job's done. We're no longer the sucker, folks, was his parting shot to the world. That decision was made by him and him alone, facing off opposition from all sides. And that's how 45 likes to do business, shooting from the hip. There's never been another president like him. There never will be. Donald Trump is one off. And so is this. It's the President Trump Freedom 2020 coin. Solid silver and minted especially by Noble Gold in the U.S. This IRA 401k approved coin is a special and unique collector's item. It celebrates the major achievements of Donald Trump's presidency so far. I don't know if you can see it here, but this side shows an eagle holding a shield aloft with a list of tasks delivered as promised. To get one of these coins, go to TrumpCoin2020.com. Don't forget to use the code X22 for a $6.50 saving on your order by not paying for shipping. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the central bank, they've been in control for a very long time, and they've brainwashed the population into thinking that debt is good, the way the system runs today. This is the way it's supposed to run. There is no other way. Gold and silver, not money. Don't look at cryptocurrencies. The only thing you should be looking at is the dollar, which has nothing to do with the United States, which is really a central bank debt note. That's it. It's their currency, which was forced upon us. Everything is about to change. Everything that we know about the economy, everything that we know about debt, everything about currency, it's all about to change. Now, Trump tweeted out something very interesting today, and we'll be getting to that in just a minute. But I wanted to start off with Theresa May and the Brexit. Looks like right now they're going to hold a vote in Parliament on January 15th, and they're going to see if the people, and most likely this is not the people, they're going to see if those in government are going to fall in line and vote for this deal. The European Union, they are saying this is the deal, accept it or else. And they're saying if you don't accept this, you're going to see an economic disaster. So we'll have to see how this all turns out, because we know the people, they voted to separate themselves from the EU. The central banks, the One World Government Association, they don't want countries to do this. They don't want people to figure it all out and say, you know something, we don't want to be a part of this anymore. And the central banks, they will do whatever they possibly can to keep you in their system. And remember, the people that are running the EU, they put themselves into those positions, just like the people in the central banks. And I'm not talking about the Fed chairman or anything like that. I'm talking about the higher ups, you know, the real leadership of the central banks, the Rothschild section of the central banks, the biz, the IMF. There's no election process. The people don't say, hey, this is what should happen. You should run the world. You should run the currency. So we'll have to wait to see what happens here. But once again, I don't know how well this is going to go, and we'll have to see how it turns out. We see that everything is starting to break down around the world. We talked about the United States. We talked about the automobile manufacturers. We're seeing the same thing happen in the UK. We're seeing it in Germany. We're seeing it throughout Europe, in China, and yes, the US. Sales of new passenger vehicles, they are measured by registration, and they dropped by 5.5% in December from a year earlier in the UK, the second largest auto market in the EU behind Germany. Sales in the full year of 2018 dropped 6.8%, reflecting 12 months of turbulence and the ongoing decline in consumer and business confidence. In 2017, sales had already dropped 5.7% from 2016. So it doesn't look good for the UK. Now, of course, people are saying, well, it has to be the Brexit. That's what it is. You see, once you start to vote yourself away, this is what happens. Well, not so fast. We're seeing this in other areas. outside of the UK, in China, throughout other European markets, and especially Germany, we're also seeing registrations. They have dropped. What does that tell you? It has nothing to do with the Brexit. It tells you that people are not purchasing new vehicles. Why not? Because when people do not have high-paying jobs, when unemployment is rising in many of these countries, when debt levels get to a certain area, people pull back. And this is exactly what we are seeing right now. Remember, the central bank system, their global system, is deteriorating, imploding on itself. Actually, if you look at Germany, their German industrial activity plunged the most since 2009. It declined. How could this be? I thought everything was great throughout Europe. The ECB, they said they were going to start to raise rates, but industrial production fell for a third month in November. Something is happening. This is what it looks like when a central bank system falls apart. Now we're watching the central bank global system fall apart. If you look at the United States, we're having the same exact problems. The only difference with the United States is that the central bank is embedded within the United States. And in the past, the deep state, the central bank, they were one and the same. And they were able to manipulate everything together. Now things are changing. Trump has the magic wand. Trump has the ability to manipulate. He's using their tools. He also, which I do believe, has control over the central bank. And he's dictating to the central bank what he wants done. Even though he's telling the world, I can't believe this is happening. This is on purpose to blame the Fed. Now, if we look at job openings in the United States, something has just changed. According to the BLS, after an upward revision in October, job openings from 7 million to 7.1 million in November, this number tumbled by 243,000 to 6.6 million. This is the lowest number since last June. And there's a graph that we always look at where we look at job hires versus 12-month cumulative change in payrolls. And if we go back to 2006, 2007, we saw the job hires start to decline. And we saw the 12-month cumulative change in payrolls also start to decline. This time, the job hires, well, they started to decline. They inched up a little bit. They're starting to decline once again. And the 12-month cumulative change in payrolls, they are starting to decline. And you can see there's a huge separation compared to the amount of job hires and to the amount of 12-month cumulative change in payrolls. We are entering a recession. The manipulation is coming to an end. And Trump right now is doing everything he possibly can, using the tools of the central bank, the deep state, to keep the economy looking like it is doing absolutely fantastically. He already knows that this economy is one gigantic illusion. He already said he has the magic wand. He already knows that he can keep the market up. He already knows that he can manipulate the data to make it look fantastic. He already knows, because it's already baked in the plan, he already knows how they're going to bring down the central bank system. The only thing that they need to do right now is drop breadcrumbs to let the rest of the country, the world, know what they're about to do. They need to educate them in every step of the way. They also need to get rid of certain players in certain high positions in the World Bank, in the IMF, in the World Trade Organization. There needs to be a restructuring. The Fed is doing what Trump wants them to do. And Trump tweeted out something very, very interesting today. He said, economic numbers looking really good. Now, really is in all caps. Can you imagine if I had long-term zero, and this is all caps, zeros in all caps, interest rates to play with like the past administration, rather than rapidly raised normalized rates we have today? That would have been so easy. Still, Markets are up big since 2016 election. Trump, with this tweet, just pretty much let everyone know that in the past, everything was completely manipulated. Letting everyone know that right now, without having the rates very low, he has the ability to manipulate it where it could look fantastic. He's showing everyone, and many people aren't paying attention to this, that the entire economic system is completely manipulated. Think about this for a second. As the Fed raises rates, and Trump is telling them not to raise rates, we see the stock market come down. The next minute, all of a sudden, the stock market goes back up. The stock market comes down again when the Fed raises rates. Then the stock market goes right back up. Trump is telling the Fed, don't raise the rates. As the Fed raises the rates, the housing market is declining. The automobile manufacturing is declining. Those people that have debt, it's becoming harder and harder to pay off. Trump continually says, don't raise the rates. The Fed continually does this, and the economy continually declines. Now, what Trump is talking about, he's talking about all the manipulated numbers. No matter what we do, keeping the rates lower, raising the rates, it doesn't matter. It's all manipulated. And with this tweet, he's letting everyone know that what we're in today is a central bank economic illusion. And he's calling out the deep state, the central bank, letting them all know he knows how all of it works. Remember the plan. There's a structure change coming. Remember what Q said. Gold will bring down the Fed. Remember Q told us and gave us a list of all the Rothschild central bank system. Change is coming. People are resigning way ahead of schedule, and they're being replaced. And we're going to see much more of this. So get prepared, get ready. We're going through a transition. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.